for, because who do you practice to play against GuMiho? Nobody really plays quite like him. Anyways, let's get into introducing our players. Over here in the upper left, in the red, from the USA, it is Astrea.
And of course, in the bottom right side of Dragon Skills, we are looking at the main base of our Korean Terran player representing that beautiful North American organization, Storm Gaming. This is GuMiho.
Dun, 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 dun.
Super important series for these guys as well. It's obviously their opening match here in Group B, but Group B is wild. Yes, Rainer is the favorite, but all these other guys, they can all beat each other on any given day, and they will know that as well. So whoever wins here is obviously going to be feeling like they are off to a flying start, because this group, you have 3 Protoss players in it: Showtime, Creator, and Astrea. How those PvPs will play out, nobody knows. Then on top of that, Spirit got into this group as well. And yes, Spirit was amazing yesterday, but all of these guys will feel that, okay, we can probably take out Spirit. You know, they rather play Spirit than they would play against Cure. So the opening best of 3 here is going to be very important for both of them.
Yeah, I think especially when you're in a group like this and you're up against somebody that you could beat, it's so important that you do beat them, right? I mean, the best player in the group, you go up against them. Okay, if you win, it's great, but you know, you're probably mapping this out, expecting to maybe lose to them, and then try to take on the players you could get. So this match is certainly going to be pivotal for these 2 guys going forward.
And this is so fun, right? Because a lot of them will look at their best of 3 against Rainer. If they take a map, that's awesome. If they win it, that would be absolutely fantastic. But every other series, they'll look at them like, this is doable. I can do it. If I play my A game, I know I can win here. And that's why this is going to be a very fun group. GuMiho is going for a very safe opening. It's command center first on the high ground, but he built it after the probe left there for a split second. So Astrea at this point, as far as I know, has no confirmation of this CC. He did scout the 1 gas opening, so that's a little bit of a scout, but this could still kind of make Astrea a little bit nervous. I know as a Protoss player myself, if you see this, you'd be like, okay, I need to make sure that nothing too crazy happens early on, and then I'm going to have a good scout off relatively early in the game. And hey, what better way to scout than with a Stargate?
Yeah, you know, making that CC there, you know, on the outside, you look at that and you think, oh, something might be coming here. I'm going to have to get to the bottom of this. And you're right, he goes for that Stargate here. Of course, GuMiho is actually, you know, playing a very, very kind of macro-oriented game. Not as greedy as if you were to just make that down at the natural, because obviously you'd see it and then you'd know what to do against it. But a cool opening to start things off here from GuMiho.
Yep. Reaper already getting 1 probe kill on the main base is a pretty sweet start for GuMiho. I think that Astrea is going to look at that and feel like that should not have happened, but now the Reaper is absolutely, I think, going to fall unless...
Ooh, that was sick, man.
Yeah, but I don't think there's a way out. The Adept should always be able to get 1 more hit off. Yeah, it does, but the Reaper regeneration kicked in. Another Shade has been thrown out, though, and this Shade, I think, will be able to get 1 more hit off. We tried to get the perfect grenade,
dude,
but that is so hard.
Dude, that was fun to watch, though. Very cool. 1 Phoenix is going to be coming out here, and that will be making a beeline over here into the Terran's main. So kind of a funny start. You know, we were mentioning, I can't remember if it was you or Fear Dragon, Roddy, that mentioned this earlier, but that... you know, Astrea, he's sometimes a little bit weak early on. He does like to cut corners, which is a sign of a good player. But the problem is when you know that there's somebody who does like to play a little bit greedy and kind of focus in on getting into a healthy mid-game spot, sometimes you get punished there. But this is not going to really be one of those games.
Nope. This is a good scout, by the way, for Astrea. I think he saw that 1 Widow Mine. This Adept is going to get picked off, but we still have the Phoenix here as well, so he's going to get double scout. It is super important you don't fly your Phoenix into that first Widow Mine, because that would honestly be a bit of a disaster. But that is not going to happen. GuMiho now knows that Phoenix is real, because he saw a couple of Marines shoot at it, and the Phoenix did not take double damage like a fake Phoenix would. But he's still actually moving out. I gotta say that's a little bit surprising, but maybe he feels after Astrea lost that Adept that he's got a lack of firepower, perhaps?
Yeah, it does seem to be a bit counterintuitive to send the medevac out once you see that there's Phoenixes on the map, but I guess if you were able to slip by that, that would be a different story. The Marines are going to make a beeline up here. Keep in mind there's no medevac here with this, so if he takes a poor engagement, all the Marines are going to die. There's no way to scoop them up and get them back out, especially with the medevac on the other side over here, holding those Widow Mines.
And Astrea is not all that greedy this game, because he's still just a 2-base Protoss, and he's even getting a safety shield battery, but he did lose track of this medevac for a split second. If the Phoenixes can find it before that medevac flies into the main base, that would be absolutely fantastic for the American. He's gonna get awfully close. Can Astrea get off to a perfect start here?
Oh my god, he just doesn't see it!
To the left, to the left!
Oh my god, where is it? Where is it?
Oh my goodness, that is actually painful.
Okay, there it is. It's gonna get right in and unload, and I don't see those probes moving yet.
Nope, but he does have 3 Phoenixes, and that is enough to lift 2 mines. If that would have been a triple mine drop, this would have been very bad. But it's just a double mine drop. So in the end, this actually still works out in a pretty perfect manner. And look at this start for Astrea, man. He's got a Colossus on the way. Now he's going up to 3 bases, and he took absolutely 0 damage against 2 Widow Mines and a Medevac. It doesn't get better than this, Tasteless.
Yeah, I mean, that's about as ideal of a situation as you can ever have, is when someone comes at you with harass and you completely shut it down and suffer literally no losses there.
I think we're going to get a double drop in the main base right now. Sorry to interrupt you there, but Stim is done. And I feel that GuMiho is like, you know what? I'm going to try to make some magic happen before the Colossus are out and before the Phoenix give you even more map control. Astrea kind of feels like he smells something, but he's still out of position, and these Marines pack a punch. Astrea is going to lose a couple of workers here.
Yeah, there was a blind spot there at the main, so he can come right in here, unload everything Stim. And this is a lot of kills, and it seems like the probes are actually stuck up here in the top right. Unfortunate building placement. I think literally every probe is going to be killed. I guess one gets away, but you get what I'm saying. A huge win there. 24 kills. I mean, I knew that was going to do a lot of damage. Even that was shocking.
24 kills, and the pylon that was powering all these gateways. We have a few more Marines. GuMiho is incredibly aggressive here as he's stimming towards the 3rd base, gets the pylon as well. Astrea obviously does clean it up, so he got a couple of Marine kills, but that was too much damage. Like, if he would have lost 5 to 10 probes there, but he gets both Medevacs, he's still okay. He's still more than happy. But yeah, 25 probes and a pylon, 2 pylons even. And that's a little too much.
It's funny, you know, GuMiho opening up strategically with a cool build, but as we got into mid-game, leaning hard into pure tactics and even some counterintuitive ideas like sending Medevacs out when you know there's plenty of Phoenixes hunting for them. He gets in there. That Marine drop was incredible. That made up for the failure with the Widow Mine drop earlier on. And, I mean, this game is far from over, but I will tell you, Astrea is going to be hurting to try to find any opportunities here. He's going to have to get all those probes remade. His tech is coming along okay, but GuMiho is growing very quickly.
Yeah, this is adding up nicely though, right? Getting a Marine, getting a Marauder, getting a Widow Mine, and a Medevac as well that just popped out of that starport, but there is another drop. I do think that Astrea scouted it. He's got a spotter pylon on the left side. I hope he was actually paying attention though.
He might not have. I thought he was going to maybe recall the Phoenixes or something like that, but he just literally doesn't see this, and he won't until his probes have already been killed. 7 more go down. Another drop over here at the natural. Astrea wise to pull this away in time.
But this is painful as well, because now he lost both probes to a single Widow Mine, so he still needs to worry about that one mine that hasn't fired yet. And at the same time, GuMiho's literally everywhere. One mine didn't fire yet. In the end, it does fire, but 21 additional probes have gone down. GuMiho is relentless here, and is there enough firepower? I think that one mine, no, it will fall in the end, but Astrea has now lost over 40 workers in an 8-minute game.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a punishing game. And really, GuMiho, other than, you know, a couple jabs here and there at his side of the map, he hasn't really taken any damage. I mean, he's done a great job. All of this is eventually going to be followed up with a giant push, and I'm wondering if that's going to ultimately be the killing blow here from GuMiho.
He is throwing away a lot of units, right? That's the kind of damage that he has been taking. Obviously, he had a less economic start. Phoenixes have been recalled now, or no, one Colossus, as the Phoenixes is going to hunt this down. It does seem that GuMiho is going to end up losing these Medevacs too. So even though GuMiho didn't take any economic damage, other than the 1 or 2 SCVs he lost, he did lose like 4+ Medevacs. Astrea forgot about one Hero Marine there. Big Gabe is going at it, as GuMiho is just hyper-aggressive in this game. Can we save the Marauder on the team Astrea? Nice micro, but in the end, the Colossus does fall.
Yeah, he does scoop up a lot of Marauders that are going to be picked off. GuMiho needs to be careful. He's doing damage, but, you know, there is a point of diminishing returns if you're going to keep sending out small little squads and trading. That being said, he is still very much so ahead of Astrea here, who is continuing to take a beating. If Astrea manages to hold off what will ultimately be the big push that's going to come, I would be blown away.
I don't think that Astrea expected this kind of a super fast-paced game, right? Because if you would hide the name tag, I don't think there's a lot of Stalker fans out there be like, yeah, this feels like a GuMiho game.
This is obviously GuMiho. You're totally right.
He's relentless. He's been so hyper-aggressive, and he's just not giving Astrea a single moment to chill while still having good macro at home. But Astrea does still have some robot units, so he's got a little bit of hope. Despite all the damage he took in this game, Astrea still has a little bit of hope, and especially if GuMiho keeps throwing away Medevac after Medevac.
Oh. Okay, he's going to get the unload off over here with all the mines, but another good catch here from Astrea. Astrea, by the way, I'm very impressed, despite how much he's getting beaten up in this game. I mean, he is really hanging on pretty damn well. Another good swipe comes in here from GuMiho. He's going to chase those probes away.
Yeah, those are expensive losses, though. A couple of goals were trailing in the back, and both the goals got picked up by these Phoenixes immediately. GuMiho is not giving Astrea a single second to actually chill and get some map control. He just wants to be in his face non-stop. He can work his head, but right now, if the armies truly would look at each other, I actually think Astrea's army would still do fine with these Phoenixes, with the robo units, because there is no real answer for the two Colossus unless Marauders do actually get in range.
GuMiho going to loop back around over here, looking for another opportunity, and he's going to try to hit over here on the side. You know, when you have Colossi grouped up like this, one of the problems that you could encounter is that you don't have a very mobile army. If you get hit from 2 or 3 different spots, you know, it's hard to deal with. And so he's actually going to come in here, pull behind, and then he's going to try to get the Colossus. The Colossus could run up onto the high ground. No, it cannot. He did not pull it away in time. Great play over here. The rest of Astrea's army is going to come down now. I think GuMiho is eventually going to have to back up.
Yep, GuMiho really using the speed of this Terran army. Astrea was a little bit out of position. The couple of the Phoenixes got picked off there as well, and it's super important for Astrea to at least maintain some sort of a Phoenix count. Otherwise, GuMiho will be running circles around him. It's impressive that indeed Astrea is kind of hanging in there, but he's hanging at the edge of a cliff, because it does feel that GuMiho is getting closer and closer to delivering that final blow. And as the observer is showing us, GuMiho's macro is insane. He realizes that all the action is taking place on the top side of the map. Yeah. So what's stopping him from just taking bases at the bottom side of the map on location?
Yeah, we're getting to the point now where GuMiho can start to really just chuck command centers out to different areas of the map. The Phoenixes, which are normally used for harassing, lately they've basically been assists to help defend.
Absolutely, and it's a couple of Widow Mines now being burrowed as well, and of course the armory is finished up, so that means that these Widow Mines are permanently cloaked. Astrea needs a few more observers. I don't think that Astrea can ever get a 5th base up right now, but if he can just get a little bit closer to maxing out on 4 bases, he will still have a chance, because he does have +2 attack on his Colossus already. He's got an Immortal in the mix. That's a painful one though, as that Widow Mine does connect with the Phoenixes. GuMiho setting up a big old drop on the left side of the map.
Yeah, now the Phoenixes are in position. Are they going to catch this?
Oh, that would be big.
Oh my god, he's going to unload it really fast.
There's a Widow Mine there as well for safety that GuMiho could have flown to. Look at the minimap, there's another army heading towards the top right side. Astrea gave himself a tiny bit of a heads up with this Polyp Island. This is a fantastic game taste.
Yeah,
GuMiho has been in his face since minute 5.
GuMiho has been a total beast this game, but I can't believe Astrea is still alive. Like, he's still alive, he's still teching, he's still getting his upgrades. Oh, we're going to have a disruption shot come over here. Yeah, I think he wants to try to pin that army to the corner there, force him to lift and catch them with the Phoenixes, but it didn't work out. Meanwhile, another attack over here onto the side, going for the pylon. There's another one in the back, so he can't actually shut down the warp in.
That overcharge was great. Actually kept the cannon alive for a little bit longer and allowed the Zealots to get on top of the bio units as well. Astrea just trying to buy some time to get Blink and get a few more Disruptors out. These Zealots don't have any armor upgrades, and that is really going to hurt when the Marines and Marauders have +2. As you can see, these Zealots are disappearing very quickly. Astrea needs to send over a couple of these power robo units.
Yeah, we got a Disruptor shot coming out here, and oh my god, it couldn't have been better. But that being said, there's still just too much here from Terran. I think this could be the beginning of the end.
There is another army on the left side for Astrea that he really needs to send over now. I don't know how big this army is. We have a couple of Disruptors, 1 Colossus, 1 Immortal, but the Immortal falls. There are just no Zealots protecting these robo units. And GuMiho is absolutely playing out of his freaking mind, because I have rarely seen GuMiho play this kind of a style, be this aggressive. This is something we expect from Clem or something like that, but GuMiho being this hyper aggro has been amazing to see, and that was a very promising first game by our Korean Terran.
I mean, that was a lot of fun to cast. That was non-stop action from the very start all the way to the very end. Look, there were 2 big moments, and I actually lost count of how many engagements overall there were in that, but there were 2 moments where we saw around 24 to 27 probes killed.
Yep.
And honestly, I think most of the Protoss players die minutes after that, not Astrea. He is able to keep his cool. He is able to maintain his composure. He continued to tech. He continued to grow. But ultimately, GuMiho just had so many more resources coming in. The upgrades were so clean, and he was able to basically overpower Astrea there. But I think that game is an indicator of how exciting the rest of this series is going to be, because I think Astrea playing that well while taking a beating that hard is very promising.
And the rest of this group, right? Because now I'm excited to see GuMiho against Creator. I'm excited to see GuMiho against Showtime. But the beautiful thing about GuMiho, and we saw that on the player card as well, right? He had like 80-something for versatility. GuMiho is very comfortable playing many different styles. And he can play a completely different style here in Game 2. And I knew that he could be aggressive, but when I think of GuMiho aggression, I kind of think of a couple of Marines and a tank and a few bunkers at minute 5 at the bottom of your natural. Right. That kind of in-your-face aggression. But this was honestly very fast-paced gameplay, super impressive. Astrea did what he could, but I think ultimately GuMiho just had a few too many units. And I love the way that Gumi closed out the game as well, right? It wasn't that he grabbed all of his forces at once and he's like, here we go, I hope I end it. No, still 2 armies roaming around the map, making it so hard for Astrea to figure out how he should split up his army.
Yeah, you know, it's a great way to play against people that are going to try to accumulate a lot of Colossi. Is to just try to hit different angles, get the Colossus in a spot where you can actually target it and take it out. And eventually you whittle down their army, and they're not as sophisticated, and you get enough of those Marines and Marauders with the medevacs, and you can just, you know, run them over.
And overall, it was just a very cool opening build order of GuMiho, because if you're Astrea and you see a couple of Marines and you see a double mine drop, the last thing that you expect is a minute later, or not even a minute later, 16 Marines with stim in your main base. It's a very committed opening, of course, from the Terran, because if that didn't do any damage, Gumi would have been in serious trouble, but none of that mattered, because he did do a lot of damage. Let's see what Game 2 has in store for us. In the top right side, the American Protoss, representing Alpha X, down 0-1. This is Astrea.
And his opponent down here in the blue, our Terran player from Korea, 1-0 right now in this best of 3. He is GuMiho.
If you are a Terran and you get put into a group with 3 amazing Protoss players, you obviously know that you cannot go for the same opening in potentially 6 or even 8 games in a row. That is just not going to work. So I'm sure that GuMiho has a couple of different builds up his sleeve. I really wonder what he's going to do on this one. This map does feel a little bit larger than Dragon Skills does. I don't know. Maybe we get some heavy 2-base aggression. We saw Coffee have a great build on this map yesterday in the round of 36 with a lot of tanks of 2 bases. Wouldn't hate to see something along those lines from GuMiho.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct about about bringing a bunch of different ideas, a bunch of different techniques and strategies when you're going to have a lot of the same race over and over again in this. And so I think we're going to have a pretty dynamic series. The probe now is going to come all the way down, sent out very early, and it will spot immediately that there's going to be a quick command center here from GuMiho.
Yep, and what it's also going to see is that a Marine is going to pop. And if you see the Marine this early, you obviously know, as a top-tier Protoss player, that it's impossible. There is a Reaper too. But what will GuMiho do behind this? Is there a chance that we're going to get some good old 3-Rex action? I know you're not maybe all that familiar. What are we going to drop, Gumi? Nah, he's got the gas for the factory, so he will drop the factory. So it's Marine into factory, single gas, a CC on the low ground this time around.
Yeah, and we don't really know exactly where this game's going to go, other than that he's getting a base up, he is getting his tech, he's not going to do that 3-Racks play and try to put any kind of pressure on here. We've got a very fast forge here from Astrea.
That is the quickest forge you're going to see in any PvT. A 2-minute forge. It gives me the idea that Astrea is going to go up to 3 bases while playing 1-gate robo. I think that's the only way you could normally really justify something like this. I've seen him do that build in the past. I've also seen Terrans like GuMiho, perhaps even GuMiho specifically, punish that with some very severe 2-base aggression around minute 5 or 5:30. Because if you play this greedy with the quickest ever +1 that you're going to see out of a Protoss, and if he goes up to 3 bases as well, Astrea's not going to have a lot of units staceless for quite some time.
Yeah, this is a kind of cool response to this. It's honestly one I wasn't expecting to see here. But, I mean, the idea is very straightforward. You're just going to start to get your upgrades out as quick as you can. You're going to basically make the bare minimum to hold off whatever they might try to send at you. GuMiho sends out a couple Marines. It looks like he's not going to get much more than a probe as far as kills go. So, not that great, to be honest.
No, it's going to be really confusing if you're Astrea as well. Like, why did 3 Marines just walk in?
Yeah.
Like, what is this all about?
Yeah, I'm not sure what he expected to get away with there. You know there's going to be a stalker, and you know the probes can run away from the Marines, so...
We have one scouting heli in as well that doesn't really get anything done either. We have a Raven going down on the side of GuMiho. Will Astrea, the only thing that I'm kind of missing with his build right now is a third Nexus. Is he just going to stay on 2 bases and drop a very quick Robo Bay? And it starts to look like it. Maybe Warp Prism speed with Colossus?
I think we might have been wrong about the 3 bases. At least I don't see it happening yet. I guess he might go... He's going to get that upgrade. He can power on 2 bases. He's getting the robotic support bay. I guess Disruptor?
I think it's going to be a Colossus with Warp Prism speed.
Okay.
Because if you would go Disruptors, it doesn't make too much sense to go for a very quick +1, right? Because the Disruptors don't benefit anything.
Yeah, unless you're just trying to get, for much later on, have a bunch of upgrades. But I think you're probably right, yeah.
Let's see. I mean, it's definitely crazy what Astrea is doing here. It's very different. We even see a cannon go down right now in the main base. So he's clearly worried about a few things. We have 2 Adepts on the way. I mean, it could still be a lot of different things. This is all very different. It is going to be a Disrupt. He's going to Chrono Boost it out. So I guess what the Adepts will have, this is actually kind of cool, because Adepts normally 3-shot SCVs. But if you get very quick +1, the Adepts will 2-shot SCVs. So I guess that's the entire strategy.
That's so cool.
Yeah, GuMiho is going to be like, what the hell? Why are your 2 Adepts 2-shotting my workers?
Oh,
this
that's
doesn't make any
such
sense.
a cool strat.
Yeah, this is very bizarre.
Yeah.
Wait, he canceled the Disruptor, or did it pop already? Okay, it already popped.
Yeah, he's got the Disruptor. The Colossus is coming next, along with Thermal Lance. And, it's funny, not all Harass is as dramatic as like a Widow Mine drop or something. But this is like a pretty cool way to try to play this. He needs to make sure not to lose that. He doesn't. You can very cheaply just pick off a couple SCVs. This does kind of keep Terran pinned as well. You don't want to leave your base because those Adepts can fly back in with a Warp Prism and take out more of your workers.
And the nice thing is that obviously now you already have... Oh, we have an Observer here. We have a Nova flying forward. But GuMiho is paying attention. That could have been a disaster, but it's not a disaster. Well done by Gumi there, because if he's not paying attention to his army, he loses the majority of his Marines there, and he's in all sorts of trouble. For Marines, the same thing goes. If Marines don't have combat shield, they will also get 2-shotted by Adepts, or if it's 2 Adepts, 1-shotted from a single volley. Really cool, unique strategy that I've honestly not seen before.
Yeah, I've never seen this one. Well, hold on a second. We've got the push coming up here. What does he actually have to try to fight this? The Raven is ready. He's got the tanks. The tanks are kind of unfortunately clumped. I think that Disruptor Shot only hit one of them, though.
Yep, that is correct. But Astrea is not capable of defending this Nexus. The firepower of this Terran army is just a little bit too much. If he had 1 shield battery there, I actually think he would have been able to save that Nexus. But we didn't have a single battery. Blink is almost done, but as long as Blink is not done, it's so hard to get in range of these tanks.
I'm actually surprised that GuMiho is going to go even further here. He's going to set the tanks up here and try to shell the gas area.
Yeah, I think that is indeed a bit crazy, but maybe he feels that if he would have unsieged everything, goes home, that he's going to get chased and he will lose it regardless. But he shouldn't get a whole lot done here other than getting in a simulator at this point. And Nova does connect with the tank, and we save the Disruptor. The answer is yes. Great save there by Astrea.
Yeah, the other tank remains, although I guess there's nothing else that it can actually hit. He's already denied the gas. The 3rd Nexus was canceled. There's another one that's being made over here in the triangle location here on the map. Meanwhile, GuMiho's expanding. I mean, GuMiho is consistently being aggressive with what I would call sometimes a questionable amount of units. Like, it doesn't always feel like it's a guaranteed win, but he is setting up quickly and nicely, and he's taking good fights. He's tactically very strong, and his control is very good.
And the nice thing about this, though, for GuMiho is that he's still making sure that the action takes place on the top right side of the map. So he's just able to get his own 3rd base up and running. He's able to saturate it with a bunch of SCVs. We did have 1 misrallied SCV, but that's no big deal. This Nova tried to get very close, wondering if there are still some Marines left. The answer is yes. Astrea's economy is not fantastic, but he does already have +2 on these Colossus and Stalkers, and that is so damn quick. At minute 8, Tasteless, you never see that.
Yeah. It's been interesting to see how the upgrades are developing along with this game and what that can do for him there. He's still not confident, Astrea isn't, to come down and deal with that little outpost that is denying the 2nd gas from being built or rebuilt over there. Looks like he's debating trying to get the Disruptor into a position that could be, see, GuMiho's just so on top of it.
Yep, and now there's obviously more medevacs out, right? There's a couple of medevacs at the top left side of the map, or at least it's a single one. The armory is done, so these Widow Mines are going to be permanently cloaked. We still have that one cannon from the early game in the main base, but this is going to be annoying. It is really important for Astrea to get on top of that army. That army has not been reinforced for a long time. It's really not all that powerful. I know it's in a good defensive spot, but it's time that Astrea gets moving. He needs to clean this up. Otherwise, there will just be too many other possibilities for GuMiho to find damage elsewhere.
Yeah, you know, when you still have that position down there, denying that gas, you get moments like this. And now these probes are actually stuck inside there. He does clean that up. But of course, GuMiho is just going to eke out a little bit more damage by dropping in here, taking out more probes. We've had 22 workers killed so far, Roddy.
That means that there was one Widow Mine, that one there, that's chilling next to the probes. Can we just take a look at that one Widow Mine? Because I think it has a ridiculous amount of kills. 14! Astrea had 14 probes clumped up, and a single Widow Mine connected with 14 probes, despite the fact that we had a cannon there. A couple of Marauders do get taken out on the top side. Astrea still has a good army, but GuMiho is doing such a phenomenal job in dancing around that army. He's never actually fighting the army straight up. He is just finding damage and getting further and further ahead in this game.
This has been just wild. And it's funny how much the ideas of Game 1 are mirrored here in Game 2, where it's just GuMiho is able to get in there. Astrea known for, you know, cutting corners from time to time. He's holding his own, but he is going through this game bruised and battered. He is continuing to develop. He is going to have to remake his probes. There is a pretty substantial worker lead right now from GuMiho. But we're going to see another big push come out here.
Yep, +3 is very close to finishing up, so these Colossus absolutely pack a punch, and Stalkers are going to have an easier time blinking forward, sniping medevacs. But GuMiho once more shows up, and the units are a little bit out of position. He can pick up these units and leave again if he wants to, and that will just open the door for that other army that's still out and about on the map to find some damage. But Astrea's got a pretty good army split, and don't forget, these Colossus and Stalkers have +3. We fire a Nova forward. The only thing he gets there is a single Widow Mine, though. It's honestly somewhat similar to Game 1, right? Where it's like Astrea is hanging in there. Now he's finding a little bit of damage with a couple of Zealots on the other side of the map. But Astrea just needs to get some more map presence, more map control, and on top of that, find more damage on the other side of the map. And perhaps this War Prism is the way to go.
Yeah, he does send that in there, cancels before the War Prism is going to be gunned down, and pulls back away. This is, you know, one of the first engagements we've had on GuMiho's side of the map since those two Adepts came in with +1. Just goes to show you how much of this game has just been the focus of Astrea defending against GuMiho.
One goes, takes a lot of damage from these Zealots, goes obviously expensive. GuMiho does not want to lose them against random Zealot run-bys or Warpins. But Astrea feels that it's his time to shine. He's going to try to make his way to the other side of the map. But GuMiho still has a decent amount of units out on the map where he can find some damage with. But Astrea shows up before this base. This is a planetary fortress, and I want to say that's absolutely perfect timing. Because if he was ever going to get it, this is the moment.
Oh my god, the Disruptor didn't get inside. He's going to be able to pick that off.
Yep, and one Colossus got picked up as well. I actually think that maybe Astrea should have stuck around a bit longer there and just force that arm to keep on chasing and try to kite a little bit with these +3 Colossus, but he was too worried that he would lose these expensive Robo units as a Widow Mine connects with the War Prism as well. 17 SCVs is nice, but he did lose a couple of key Robo units.
Yeah, and you can see GuMiho was debating actually seesawing the fight once again back over. He's going to look for an opener because that fourth base did seem to be pretty well defended on the high ground in that small area. It looks like Astrea was going to actually pursue this army, and GuMiho decides it's better to try to find a better position to fight on. He has laid some Widow Mines down here. There is an Observer to spot it, and he can see both, but he's just going to kind of avoid ever having to directly deal with the Colossus.
This is a dangerous spot for Astrea to be in, right? Because there's another blue army coming in from the left side. We can see that on the minimap. I think it is time for Astrea to sync up his armies as well, because GuMiho already has the surround. He wants to go for it. He wants to fight half the army of Astrea. Astrea is doing whatever he can to get out of here. Nice zoning Novas, but he's still taking a lot of damage from all these Marauders and Vikings.
And you can see these armies coming in here now. This seems like a bad control group or something. They're actually moving right through that. And another huge engage coming up here. I don't know if Astrea can last much longer. That final Colossus is shot down. The Disruptor is going to be picked off as well. This is going to be a 2-0 with GuMiho crushing Astrea.
GuMiho steams forward one more time, grabs the final few stalkers, but with 10 probes already falling, that Nexus being completely exposed at this point. I think you're right, Tasteless. The writing is on the wall for this one. GuMiho, honestly, with a spectacular series. He played so well. Astrea had an awesome build here in the second game, as we have one more meter mine connecting with a couple of probes. But Astrea just couldn't really get a whole lot of momentum going. It was GuMiho dictating the pace of both games from almost start to finish. And the only thing that Astrea could really do was react, try to hang in there, but he never truly stabilized.
Yeah, the supplies are pretty depressing here for Astrea. It's 81 to GuMiho's 163. At this point in time, I think it's going to be one or two more attacks here from GuMiho, and Astrea is going to be flattened. GG, GuMiho wins that 2-0 versus Astrea.